Hello YouTube, welcome back to another video. B-Dog Collectibles here, and today we are going to be going through my top 5 best Black Series figures I own. So this won't be a list of my favorite Black Series figures that I own, but instead this will be looking at what I think are the best figures that Hasbro has produced. So this video won't include any customs that I've done or that I've had made for me. Just in last week's video, we saw some ARC Troopers that were custom made, and it would be wrong to have those in because they're not really the stock figures that Hasbro created. They just had some upgrades on them to improve them. But let's get into number 5. So our number 5th best Star Wars Black Series figure is Clone Commander Bly. This figure came out a couple years ago, I think 2018, 2019 area. I might be mistaken there, but this is one of my favorite figures, and if you looked at my collection video, you know I'm a big fan of clones. Why this figure is number 5 for me is it's accurate to Revenge of the Sith. That's a big thing for me. The body and mold it's on is very good. There is some flaws in it. Looking at the figure, it has hard goods at the top with the pauldron, and then you get soft goods in the back with the comma, which I think really makes this figure more realistic, more adaptable. It improves the mobility of the figure, the articulation of the figure compared to some of the new commas with the ARC Troopers and the hard goods, the rubber ones. Why this figure is number 5 and not higher up on this list for me is probably because the figures ahead of it are newer and have been improved so much. One thing with the body too is if you can see on camera, there's still pins in the joints. Having the pins in the joints just don't look as good as the new pinless joint figures, and even on the new clone body that just came out, this is a really good clone body still, and I still really enjoy the figure. But I do believe that there are 4 other figures in my collection that are better than Clone Commander Bly. So the number 3 best Black Series figure I own is the new, or not new, I guess older, Clone Wars Maul that from season 7 of the Clone Wars. I'm a big fan of the Clone Wars. I really enjoyed Maul. I grew up with the TV shows and the prequel movies, so I'm a little bit biased to having Maul as one of my top villains. But with this figure, first off, it's very accurate to the show. There's some inaccuracies, some things that are flaws that I do see as flaws in this figure. But one thing I don't are the one thing that's really nice about this figure are the legs. Brand new legs for season 7, which look incredible on the figure. They do have that robotic look that Maul had during the last couple seasons of the Clone Wars. The figure articulates very well, stands very well. The face sculpt is very detailed. But there are a couple flaws with this figure that kind of push it down the list for me. The first thing being the lightsaber being huge instead of probably being about half the size in the actual show. And then if you can tell on camera, my lightsaber has bowed too. It came like that in the packaging, unfortunately. But the lightsaber being a huge kind of flaw for me, that kind of throws it off with it being just enormous. Another thing Another smaller thing is the skin tone for the chest and the face being different colors. I'm not. It's not a huge thing for me. The red being different colors. The face is a little bit darker, and the red is a little bit more vibrant. But all in all, I still don't. I don't think that's a huge flaw. Not as big as the lightsaber to me. But overall, this figure is amazing. I would suggest, if you're a huge fan of the Clone Wars, get this figure or get something like it. I know there is a new gaming grade small that came out last year, but I still suggest the small just because of the accuracy to the Clone Wars. But this is why that the small is my fourth favorite figure, or sorry, fourth best figure I own. So number 3 figure on my list is the Return of the Jedi Deluxe Boba Fett. This is the one that came in the Galaxy packaging, not the 40th anniversary one that came out last year, but they are the same figure. This figure kind of was, I debated between 2 and 3, and this kind of switching the order around a couple times when I was preparing to make this video, but this figure falls to 3 for me just because I think number 2 is just incredible. So a couple positives of this figure. When this figure came out, it was a new sculpt compared to the old Empire Strikes Back's Black Series sculpt, Boba Fett sculpt, which improved on a lot of things. First being the pinless joints, better articulation, just a kind of a better looking body, a more accurate looking body to the media. With this figure, you do get a lot of accessories, so the flamethrower, the jetpack rockets on the back when I spin the figure around, jetpack. It came with 2 guns, one for one being cut in half. When Luke cuts his gun in half and during Return of the Jedi. And then he also comes with a grappling hook as well. Let me spin the figure around here. But I really enjoy this figure. There's not too much bad I have to say about this figure at all. It is the number 3 best Black Series figure I own. The one thing is maybe the gun could have been designed a little bit better to make it easier to hold, or the tubes here on the side sometimes do get in the way of articulation on that right arm. But other than that, this figure is amazing. There's not much bad I have to say about it. And we'll move on to number 2. So my number 2 figure is the Black Series Book of Boba Fett Chrysanthemum, Black Chrysanthemum from in the deluxe packaging. This figure came out last year, and I think is one of the best looking figures that Hasbro's ever made. Just the accuracy, the size, the presence it has, just kind of stands out on the shelf. I do have them with the posed with the SH Figuarts Throne Boba Fett and the Black Series Fennec Shan. I do think this figure just looks amazing to look at. One thing with the detail in the paint, where you have the white highlights in the throughout the fur. I feel like the shoulder pad piece and the straps just make them look so much bigger, especially compared to that first Chrysanthemum, the comic book Chrysanthemum that Hasbro released, where it looked just terrible compared to what this figure came out to be. Like, this figure just looks amazing. The detail and the paintwork in the fur just it just stands out. there were a couple things that held it back from being number one. The number one best figure that I own, in my opinion, but it was really never gonna get the first place spot from the first place figure I have. A couple flaws are the gun doesn't really stay in his hand. The I wish the shoulder pads were a little bit glossier in the gold. Some of the paint doesn't look great on it, and I just turned off the light. But overall, this figure is amazing. It just has such a presence. Beside Boba Fett and Fennec Shan, and it is one of my favorite figures that I own. But now we'll go on to number one. So if you've been following the Black Series recently, and well, in the last like 3 months, you'll understand why this is the number one figure. This is the Book of Boba Fett, Glavis Ringworld Mandalorian figure. This figure is just amazing. There's not much else to say. I really couldn't come up with one crazy flaw about this figure when I was thinking about it. So first off, this figure is such a huge upgrade over the first couple Mandalorian figures they came out with. He has a pinless joints. He has a new sculpt that makes him look a little bit bulkier, makes him look more accurate to the show, more proportionate. One thing I loved about this was these soft goods. If you looked at earlier in the video I talked about Bly having the soft goods in the right spots, making them look very, very good. And I think Hasbro has nailed it with the soft goods on this figure. Having the cloth cape allows them to use the jetpack as well, to put the jetpack on there. Oh, I just knocked the camera. Let me fix that quickly. But just the chrome color, I know it'll never be like a perfect chrome, just at that $35 price or $35 price point here in Canada. But the amount of accessories this figure comes with, it does come with the Darksaber and his vibro blade, as well as the gun he holds in his hand. The one flaw I would have would be, to make this figure not perfect, would be it can't really hold the vibro blade properly. Other than that, I think there's not much else bad I can say about this figure. I think this is the best Black Series figure Hasbro has released to date. I hope another figure does jump it at some point, and I hope that figure is in my collection. But thanks for watching this video. Please like and subscribe and comment what else you guys want to see. We might have a couple other videos coming down the line, but keep in touch with that. And thanks for watching, and peace out.